Hi, my name is Alice from Cosplay and this is a tutorial on how to do resin casts. We use this technique to cast some gemstones for my Cosplay. If you want to see how it turned out or how we made it and everything about this cosplay, there should be a few videos up on this channel already. Or you can visit our website. All of the links are in the description. First of all, you need an object that looks like the thing you want to cast with your resin. So if you want to make a gemstone, you have to have an object that looks like the gemstone, has the same size. We took some clay and made these gemstones first. If you're making something out of clay that will be casted into resin later, make sure that the clay is smooth and it looks exactly like the thing you want to cast. We now need to do a silicone mold. So you make a box out of EVA foam or any other material that will hold up and can be destroyed later, and put the gemstones you made out of clay inside. Since we want to fill the box with silicone later, and silicone is a liquid, we have to make sure that the box is really secure so that nothing can drop out of the box. Okay. Also, we have to be able to destroy the box later in order to remove the silicone from it. So you could make the box out of wood, but then you'd have to destroy the wooden box you just carefully crafted. So while mixing the silicone together, it is important that you read the instructions on the box that the silicone came in. Since there are different companies that sell these silicone mixture things, you have to read carefully because some of them will need you to mix one part base and one part hardener, and others will need to have 100:5 or any different ratio to that. So make sure that you read and understand in what ratio you have to mix these two things together in order to get the right silicone. If you don't put enough hardener in, for example, the silicone will need a long time to dry and sometimes won't get hard at all and just stay sticky. Make sure that you always wear gloves while you mix these things together because silicone is really sticky and it's really hard to remove it once it's on your skin or on your clothes, and everything will stick and it's not good. Yes. Because of that, you should also make sure that you mix it in a container that you can throw away later, because the container will be sticky as well and it's just a pain to clean it. Please make sure to mix the silicone really slowly because otherwise you will stir in air and you will get air bubbles into your mixture, and this is something you don't want. Then you just have to wait and let it dry, let it do its work, and once it's done you can remove the silicone from the box and you can remove the gemstones from the silicone, and you now have a silicone form in which you can fill in the resin. And that's what we are here for. Oh, resin, yay! You can now mix your resin together and you pretty much have to pay attention to exactly the same things that you had to pay attention to while you were mixing the silicone. So the resin also consists of a base and a hardener, and you have to make sure that you read the directions on how you have to mix them to get the right consistency. If you don't mix enough hardener in, then the resin will not harden. And if you mix too much hardener in, the resin will turn yellow, it will crack, and yes, it doesn't look good, especially if you're using clear resin. While mixing, also make sure you stir really slowly, again to prevent air bubbles from getting in. Wear gloves because you don't want the resin to stick to you or anything that you're touching while you're doing this. And once you have poured in the resin into the silicone mold, you can now wait for it to turn hard and then remove it from the mold. You can now use a Dremel to get rid of all the unevenness that is still there. And maybe if there were some air bubbles in your silicone after all, you will now have a bump in your finished resin gem, and you can use a Dremel to get rid of that. Once you've made your gem smooth again, you can use some clear nail polish or any clear polish. You can also use like car polish and stuff. And apply a coat on top of your gemstones, and then they will turn see through again and they will look good again. And yes, basically that's all. There are resins that aren't clear, so you can buy a white resin, black resin, or if you want to have any other color, you can use resin colors. You can also put objects inside of the resin, so you basically have your silicone mold, put in the object, and then put resin on top, and once it's hardened you will have the object inside of the resin cast, which is also pretty neat. And that's it, there you have your cast. It's actually pretty easy, it just takes a little patience and some time, and you can have your own crystals, gemstones and other things you want to have. Okay, bye!